It is officially that part of the Bitcoin bull market where all you have to do is sit back, grab a tissue and some lotion, lock your door, and prepare for greatness. Because Bitcoin has unequivocally shattered all-time highs and in fact put in the largest single daily candle in its history. So far. But how high is it going to go? Let's just say you might feel a little tingle down below once I tell you. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like, subscribe, get signed up to Femex below. It takes 30 seconds if you're my Bitcoin or altcoins. And without any further ado, let's absolutely dump on into what honestly is quite bananas times 10. So as we see at this very moment, Bitcoin's daily candle right here, this is basically a daily candle because it's only 1 day into a week. This is its weekly candle from last week. This weekly candle, which is so far only 1 day, is almost as big as the weekly candle we just got, which was also an insanely pumpy candle. And in fact, many people have been talking about Bitcoin potentially hitting 100,000 in the next 2 months before the end of 2024. We could hit 100,000 by the time you're watching this video. We could be hitting 100,000 by the time you wake up from your nap. But again, let's not get too bullish, but also let's actually get extremely bullish. So obviously we see that the biggest single daily price increase in Bitcoin's history occurred today. At the time of recording, actually, we haven't even finished the day. But by the time you're watching this video, because it's only a few minutes away, it will be over. So absolutely not only big, ginormous. We see that also full-blown euphoria has kicked in. Wait, just kidding. Basically no one cares. This to me is the most bananas part. I haven't received a single text from those relatives that I'm expecting, right? Numbers are finally actually starting to increase a little bit in terms of engagement and in terms of social media numbers as well. Doesn't look like full-blown euphoria to me, right? Google searches are nowhere near what they were in previous bull markets. This is literally the beginning of the bull market. Now, I also want to highlight this, right? We're going to have people like this. I love this meme that are saying, hey, you got lucky with Bitcoin. Maybe it's time you start taking some profit. Are you kidding me? These boneheads, these banana heads who have continuously, somehow, almost miraculously gotten it wrong about Bitcoin over and over and over again, want to now give financial advice. Excuse my language, but literally kiss my butt. Absolutely no shot. Over the next 6 months, I think we're going to see gains bigger than the biggest gains you could ever imagine. And then I want you to take that number and times it by 2, and it's still not even as big as I think we're going to actually see here. We also see everyone is focused, according to Matt Hogan on Twitter, on X, everyone is focused on new people buying Bitcoin. But an equal part of this rally is that people have stopped selling. Long-term owners are no longer willing to part with Bitcoin below 100,000, and short sellers absolutely do not want to step in front of this. Over the last 24 hours, I have seen prominent accounts and people who have actually tried shorting this get completely blown to bits, completely decimated, completely liquidated. I mean, imagine being in a short position just like 12 hours ago. Maybe you entered around 80,000 or something, and then it goes up to 88, 89, 90,000. I mean, maybe, like, imagine your short would be completely blown to bits, right? And that's, so good luck trying to short this. Absolutely bananas. This also kind of relates exactly what I was just talking about. The real bull run begins when the average person understands there's not really anything to sell it for. I talk about selling for profit and stuff like that. For the most part, though, what I'm talking about is selling altcoin gains to then put into Bitcoin. Overall, my strategy long term is to literally just buy more and more Bitcoin, which is what Michael Saylor's doing, which is what a lot of people that at this point, I mean, for pizza's sake, the country of El Salvador, they're doing it as well. Buying Bitcoin, also specifically like buying altcoins, making massive gains, and then rotating those profits into Bitcoin. When I say selling or taking profit, I don't necessarily mean like selling it to put into your fiat currency or something, which again, keep in mind, let's not be delusional. If you want to buy a house, you make a lot of money, you want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, you want to buy something, obviously in some cases, then yeah, you would sell it and sell it into your currency, whatever, and do it. But for the most part, what I'm talking about is trying to accumulate as much Bitcoin as I humanly can. That's humanly possible. Because at the end of the day, there's a finite supply. There is nothing that I think exists that is a place that is more secure and where I want to put my Bitcoin over the next 10, or where I want to put my money over the next 10, 20 years. And this, I think people still don't get it. I was watching CNBC earlier as well. People still just not understanding the use case of why it is going up in value. These people are so dumbfounded. They're like, they have no idea. And it's so obvious to me that it almost seems like, are they just lying? I don't understand. They have to understand, right? Another funny stat is Bitcoin is up 70% from when Germany sold a couple of months ago. You remember that? Meanwhile, El Salvador's cost basis is now up 100%. Basically, Germany made a big boo-boo. Germany made a big oopsie, right? Germany shouldn't have sold. They would have made way more money if they just waited a couple months. And in fact, why would they even sell to begin with when Bitcoin potentially replaces fiat? We also see that El Salvador and its president are now up double on their Bitcoin reserve. It is just a matter of time until other countries follow suit. I personally think other nation states are potentially already doing this, already following suit, and already buying Bitcoin. Potentially that's what's contributing to this massive price increase. It is not a crazy thing to think about, honestly. I think it's very likely. We also see that in just the last few days since Donald Trump won the election, Bitcoin is up 21%. Completely bananas. That's quite a pump in just the last few days. Obviously, Trump was the pro-crypto administration, the pro-crypto candidate, and very clearly, the stock market and Bitcoin is responding very, very favorably to Donald Trump winning the presidency. And a chart I've shown a million times is just the election chart for Bitcoin. Yeah, we're just at the beginning of this pump. Post-election is right when the pump for Bitcoin really gets kicked off, and we are just a week. We're not even an entire week out yet. We have a lot to go. And every metric is basically telling us that. We see Bitcoin as well surpassing silver to become the 8th largest asset in the world. It is only a matter of time till it is the 7th, 6th, 5th, and go down the line pretty much. A movie was made, actually a fantastic movie, The Big Short, is a movie that was made about a guy who made almost $1 billion by shorting the stock market, around $800 million. Michael Saylor has already made $11 billion simply buying Bitcoin. There's going to be a movie about this guy, and I wonder who's going to play him. Actually, I wonder who is going to play Michael Saylor. He's probably going to be so rich, and it's probably going to happen so fast that maybe he'll just play himself, because the movie might come out in the next few years once, he becomes the first trillionaire or something insane. We also see $1.7 billion of inflows per day on average in the Bitcoin network, into the Bitcoin network, and it's still just warming up. Guys, these inflows, I was actually listening to, I believe it was even CNBC earlier. Soon we're going to be seeing tens of billions of dollars of inflows per day as a real possibility. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but I really think that once this thing actually starts heating up, guys, I believe we're entering the S curve of the adoption curve, the inflection point of the S curve of adoption. What do I mean by that? I think that things have not even begun to actually do what they're going to do. And what I mean by that is mega pumping big time, very much so. We see Senator Loomis also putting forward a bill for the U.S. government to buy 200,000 Bitcoin per year for the next 5 years for a total of about a million Bitcoin. At today's price, that would be worth about $87 billion worth, and you bet your sweet butt that it'll probably be worth way more than that by the time that million Bitcoin is acquired, if it ever even is. They have to keep in mind, there has to be a million Bitcoin to scoop up like that for that to be possible. And I don't know. I think a lot of people do not want to sell their Bitcoin because they understand how valuable it actually is. We also saw earlier today on CNBC, managing partner at an ultra-wealthy community for centimillionaires says Bitcoin could become the next strategic reserve asset. Barbara Goodstein, and I do not think that isn't a stretch whatsoever. So in the last day, it's absolutely insane. So today, because Bitcoin has pumped so much, it is actually the last 4 days of Bitcoin dominance decreasing has actually been erased because Bitcoin just gigapumped back up. Wow. Actually, since I started recording this video, okay, Bitcoin hit another new all-time high. I started this video when it was 87,000 something. Now it's at 89. By the way, if you guys haven't been watching this chart today, it's quite honestly bananas. I mean, look at this chart. Actually, for the next minute, maybe I'll just look at this and not even talk because it's going up and we're all making money. It's absolutely insane. Some of these altcoins are up. I mean, honestly, alts are going to start pumping mega big time. This is something I was saying to a friend earlier as well. The harder Bitcoin pumps, the harder your alts are going to pump once some of that money rotates into alts, right? So Bitcoin pumping right now is best, even if you don't have any Bitcoin, which I don't know why you wouldn't. If you're invested in crypto, you should probably have some Bitcoin. But even if you have no Bitcoin pump, and you only have altcoins, Bitcoin pumping right now is actually going to benefit you massively if you have altcoins. So even if you're sitting here with literally 0% Bitcoin, I'm sure you agree, like this is exciting because altcoins are coming up. The more attention, the more money that goes into Bitcoin. Granted, I think Bitcoin is shifting a little bit into, in fact, somebody on CNBC even said this earlier this morning, that it was a guy that's been critical of Bitcoin for forever, like most people on CNBC. And he basically said with everything happening with Bitcoin spot ETFs and now with the Trump administration, Bitcoin for the first time ever is going to become a very accepted, traditional, classic investment, something you put in your portfolio, like everyone. It's honestly insane how quickly it's happening. But that's what myself and so many people have said, is that it happens like that. And you're almost not going to have time to prepare once it actually starts happening. That's why myself and so many people have been trying to prepare people before it happens. Because once it starts happening, it looks like this. It looks insane. How are you going to you need to have been involved before this. You need to have had a plan before this. That being said, look at the altcoin chart as well. Again, it is also continuing to break out on a weekly chart. Altcoins are going to start moving up big time, but there is going to be a rotation more into altcoins at a certain point. But even before that massive rotation into an altcoin season, altcoins are still going to start gaining in valuation. So it's good both ways, basically. As I've talked about, and many people have talked about it a million times, we are still, how many days? We have roughly, it's a rough estimate, but roughly around 300 potential days left of this bull market. 300 days, almost an entire year, likely. If it's anywhere similar to the past couple bull markets, topping out about 500 to 550 days after the halving, we still have roughly about 300 days. And you're telling me it's getting this bananas already? It's insane. So get signed up to Femex below if you want to buy altcoins or trade. Also, if you sign up with my link specifically, you can receive up to $8,000 free for trading. And without any further ado, that's it for me.